Hello and welcome to episode 36 of our Timberborn Update 5 Iron Teeth playthrough here. Cycle 44, day 12. Yeah. It's very laggy, very hard for us to do anything. So very first thing we're going to do before we go anywhere else, hit pause and try to figure out exactly what's gone wrong here. And I can tell you, it probably has something to do with the fact that we have 359 beavers who aren't doing anything for the betterment of our playthrough here, because everything's automated now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to just take out all of these breeding pods, the regular ones, and we're going to pause a bunch of the rest of them, try to get our number of beavers down now that we don't really need them to do anything. So I think I will pause every other one here that is left. So now we'll just have 6. We're going to have these 3 here and these 3 here that aren't paused. To try and maybe reduce the amount of beavers just a little bit. And by just a little bit, I mean hopefully enough for us to still actually be able to play the game. Because we've got lots of stuff to do. There's still so much that needs to be done, and so much that we cannot do because of how laggy everything is. But just to briefly recap, last time and the time before that, it all kind of runs together. We had these large water wheels that we put in over here, and then also all the way around on this side, and in fact we're still working on building some over here. But everything is all hooked up, and we are generating substantially more power than we had before in the process over here of adding additional capacity in these framed flywheels. All that requires metal blocks, and that is something we're currently lacking in. And that's going to be a little bit of a theme for this entire rest of the playthrough, is trying to get everything actually finished and ready to go. Because we're at the point now, I've said for several episodes now, that it is just not possible to do this in real time and have it be even remotely interesting, because everything just takes so long. So going to be a couple more episodes maybe of time-lapse type stuff, and then we will be pretty much completely out of stuff to do, and we'll have to put this series to bed. But since we are on that topic of other things we got to finish, you guys are still leaving some helpful comments, and I really appreciate that. So we want to make sure that we are taking advantage of everything we can do here. And I'm going to start by relocating these suspension bridges here. And I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do is we're going to have this go right in the middle of the little earthen embankment thing here. And that will allow us to have a nice symmetry with how this whole thing is set up. And that was something that was suggested in a comment, so again, thank you very much for that. We just have to make sure that we get everything set up properly, and I remember which one is which. But yeah, that's going to go there. And then also, the comment was made that, hey, you put the paths in the wrong spot to get to these, what do you call them on the back? Water pumps. So that is now fixed. Thanks again, as always, for pointing out those little details that I managed to miss. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, since this is operating, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm just going to put in another bridge and then demolish the old one. But putting it in the center, as the commenter noted, does give a direct path to this ladder here, and also equidistant to every other thing on here instead of in the corner. I don't know why I put it in the corner, probably for purposes of constructing with the dirt. Which reminds me, I guess this is okay, mostly like that, but we are going to have to modify these things here. Turn them around the other way so they can actually be built simultaneously. Should help us go a little bit faster. But yeah, that's just one of those things we got to keep our eye on as we have stuff set up here. And make sure that everything gets properly adjusted. So that's going to be online maybe sometime this episode, maybe not. The world may never know. Depends on how bad of a time we have trying to get the stuff to go faster. So let's try to go a little bit on 2 times speed as we go through the rest of all of our other fun stuff and address the concerns you guys brought up in the comments. First one I wanted to get to after the bridge thing here is that all the number crunchers are paused. Yes, but we still have some science. I mean, I'm going to turn those on, but that's not the utmost importance right now. Somebody also said bot assemblers are paused. That's not true. They're all running. So I don't know where that came from, but we are all good to go in that regard. I just want to make sure that the batteries can get charged as much as possible before I turn these things back on, because we're not going to generate any power during the drought, obviously. and we aren't currently out of science, so I don't need to turn these back on. I want to make sure the batteries can get as full as they can get before it becomes an issue. So really, I probably should pause all of these other recreational things and just let the beavers cry about it, but we don't really need to go that hard, do we? I don't think so. So, other things, looking at my list here. Somebody said you should have a charging station by the mine. That is also true. We can put in an engine and some of those things. We really just need to have more charging in general, I think, because this whole bottom ring is its own district. It has not been separated. I don't know that I will separate it, honestly. But we do have some chargers here, and we have chargers on the other side. But since this is the center of the district, it honestly does need to have an engine or something here for them to use. So I will put one maybe right about here-ish. And we'll just put the charging stations around the outside, as we like to do, starting off with just a few because we do have a limited amount of metal in place. Make that a priority to start with at least those two, get that going. And that should eventually help us out. We have so much other stuff going on that we have to figure out some way of taking advantage of here. All right, next on the list was also to take a look at treated planks. That's kind of a holdover from the last couple episodes. Right now, I think the treated planks are fine, but once we have 2 of these efficient mines going, and especially once we have more than 5 bots working in here, then that is really going to be something that we're going to need to take a look at. But right now, since we are in such dire need of metal, I don't really care. Well, actually, this doesn't use metal. Huh. Okay, well, maybe I should do that later then. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But that is going to be what it's going to be. Not really too much of a way around that. The only other thing that I had on the list was to check our import-export with the train station. It looks like that's going reasonably well, about as well as one can expect. And we'll just check the other station here. Yeah, see, it says it has no goods in stock. I probably should prioritize this. Just so the haulers can have a chance of doing stuff. But it looks like that's going okay. There are probably some other things we could do to make it a little better. But for the time being, I think that's probably about all we can get ourselves into. So now we come all the way back up here to this empty square that we have not really done too much with for the last, well, I don't know, 20 episodes or however long it's been since we started moving industry very, very, very slowly down here. We've got to figure out something to put here. And I have to be able to build it too. So I think that's going to be whatever our quote-unquote mega build thing. I don't know, I get a little bit of flack for calling it a mega build. Some people have a different idea than what I would think would qualify this as a mega build, just having, you know, an entire 256 by 256 map populated with stuff. I guess people want some giant wood structure thing. I'm really terrible at those, so don't get your hopes up, but we might be able to get something going there. While we're over here, we do have some extra space we're not currently using, but we're already making so much corn and so much eggplant. I don't really want to put either of those things here. But what we could do, since we have all this extra space, and we somehow still do not have a ton of canola seeds, I think we'll just plant this with canola. I know we have canola here, we have canola here. Oh, come on, lag. There's that drought started. I think we can make a good use of that space. So we'll go ahead, get rid of our pathing here. And then we will go ahead and just plant canola. We have plenty of farmers able to, well, farm, do all those farm-related things. So we'll pop that there, pop that there. That should take care of that space quite nicely. And now all we have to do is figure out what we're going to put here. I don't need to ask you guys again because I've done it like 800 times and I haven't built anything yet. So I will not place that burden upon you once more. But I think I'll have to do some thinking. You guys have already done plenty of suggestions on that. But it would be nice to have some sort of like entertainment-based thing in here. I know the Iron Teeth don't have the temple. Or I guess it's called the Agora now or whatever. But the Iron Teeth don't have that. The closest thing they've got is the brainwashing theater, the motivatorium. And we already have 4 of those. So I'm not entirely sure. I do want to build some sort of, I don't know, like a pyramid or some sort of something here. I guess we can figure that out as the time comes. But for now, all that we can really do is continue constructing these things. I've got this third side. I guess technically it's the fourth side that we haven't developed yet. But I've got this whole thing I was at one point trying to get built out. There's just a whole lot of stuff to do. And that's the way she goes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to time-lapse the placing and the construction and the weighting and all of that on that fourth side and the rest of the other sides, and try to maybe get some metal production a little bit higher. It's not enough right now, and that's part of the reason why everything is taking so long to get done. But like I said, stuff takes forever, so time-lapsing it means my suffering gets distilled down into a digestible pace, digestible amount of time for you guys. And we can all move on with our lives and go on to other stuff. So that is what we will come back and take a look at after I have finished getting all this stuff done, and then we'll see what we're able to do in the last little bit of this episode. Probably not going to be a long one, again, because what else am I going to be doing in episode 36 of a series that's already had, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours time-lapsed out of it? You got to commit to the whole long time-lapse format thing, I guess, at some point. But we're going to see exactly what we can get to. And that will be right now. Alright, finally, after multiple hours in real life, trying to get this stuff all built up, we finally have this final side all hooked up with these water wheels. We do not have it actually connected to anything else right now, and that's going to be an interesting problem to solve, because I don't have any buildings on this side of the middle tier that actually are using power, except for right here. But I don't know. I might honestly just end up putting these things around the outside here. We'll see what happens. But while all that was going on, we did run out of stuff for these guys to do, so we'll go ahead and tell them to go take a hike. And now we have Beaverwood Forest with 3 extra bots. Might end up transferring those guys somewhere else. Let's check out the other side. Let's see how we're doing over here. 1 extra bot. And we actually have a shortage, as a couple of you pointed out in last episode's comments, of bots. And it is because we don't have enough limbs. But we haven't paused any of the limb factories or anything like that, so I think part of the issue is probably one of the components here. That one's making chassis. Can I click on this one from inside here? Probably not. I'm gonna have to jam my camera up in here. That's a gear workshop. How much closer can I possibly get? I had this all figured out too, and I thought it was going fine, but clearly some mistakes have been made. So let's see if this thing is even going to cooperate at all. All right, heads, chassis, heads, and then I think limbs are up here. Yeah, it's the planks, but it doesn't make any sense because we have, in this district, we have 1,500 planks. So why don't we go ahead... I can't believe this wasn't clicked earlier, the prioritized by haulers thing. Yeah, that definitely should have been selected a long time ago. So now that's fixed. Do we have our assemblers? Yes. Okay, so that might have actually been at least part of the problem. See, those are all marked. There's this one. Yes. Oh, but there's nobody in it because we don't have enough workers. Okay. Well, that problem will eventually solve itself. We just find ourselves with a slight shortage of some bots here down in Body McBotville. But I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. See, this is hooked up here. I was going to put in some of those large flywheels, but honestly, I'm not sure we need to have so many of those. Might just be easier, in all honesty, to build a giant thing all the way around the outside. But the problem we're going to run into is there's not going to be good accessibility here. I do think it's going to be faster though than to just connect nothing up here. So in the interest of actually getting something accomplished here today, I know this is going to end up being a really short episode, just because there's not too much else I can really do, to be perfectly honest with you. So we'll go ahead and get that going. The 9 bridge. I guess I can just go ahead and pop these on all of these. around the corner here. We don't have to go all the way around, but I do think that is kind of a fun thing to do. Have everything match up nicely and just hook up here. But I'm not going to have it go all the way around that way because that just is not necessary. But this side, we know for sure we can get that done. So I just have to get this hooked up correctly here. Ah, see, I caused some problems for myself because of the way I have this set up. I didn't have this set up in the way that was really going to be that easy to deal with. So I'll tell you what. I love it when the game just lags. You know, after I got rid of all these... what are these things called? The beaver vats that produce beavers. We now have 50 or 60 fewer beavers. And the frame rate hasn't really improved all that much, so I think I'm going to be forced to just deal with it, probably. That's what's going to happen here. But I will go ahead and get this all situated. I'll have to put in some of those paths to get around a little bit easier. But other than that, that's about all I can really think of to come up with here. We're going to have to come up with some other ways to occupy our time and make sure everything gets done how it's supposed to be. Can I make it through here? I think I can. Yeah, as long as they can reach that corner, that's pretty much all we need to do. Just run this out like so, and I know that can get built eventually. They'll take care of that, hopefully with some modicum of quickness. But that'll connect here, and then, of course, this does not need to have any sort of worries about that. Oh, hey, this one's done. Nice, and it's full. I guess we have 177. No, I'm sorry, 1.77 million HPH. I hope that is enough of a capacity. I really and truly hope so. Yeah, they're making good progress on this. And then, of course, this will get hooked up that way. It's not the most glamorous solution. What is this doing here? We don't need that. Go away. But that will contribute a little bit more, and then if we feel so inclined, we can put some other stuff in here. But for right now, I think that's probably good enough. Just make sure that gets hooked up. And once this is all added, that'll be about another 7,000 per side, so just shy of 14,000, could be 13.5. And that will allow us to keep everything going quite nicely. If we can get the problem of the limb manufacturing sorted. Yeah, see, it is just always lagging behind. It's always lagging behind. But that's fine. The math works, and it doesn't work at the exact same time. And it's simultaneously right and wrong to build additional manufacturers just for the limbs. Never been able to get it to work right, even though the math supposedly checks out. So, that's fine. They'll get that taken care of, and then we should be pretty much done. Minus, of course, building something interesting up here, which I suppose could be our finale if we so choose, and then see if we can get up to 500 beavers and support them with all the food stuff we're growing. We did plant at the beginning of the episode. Don't forget all of this canola up here. And that seems to have helped substantially, because now we have 3,600 in stock. We also, got rid of 60, 70 beavers. So that probably had something to do with it, where I'd hazard a guess. But now that I know this really hasn't helped matters at all, I'm gonna unpause these. Just get things going again, and we're gonna go for Broek. We're gonna pop in a whole bunch more beavers here. Because remember, these were the original breeding pods. But now, friends, they're going to be the advanced ones that only pop out adults, and then we don't have to have any kids. And we have a 69 well-being, everything completely maxed with the exception of the beautiful dam, which of course is the last piece of the puzzle, and is going to be something here, some huge thing, or moderately sized, depending on your perspective. And I probably need to find a place to put some of those dam pieces here as well, to try and make sure that everybody has access to those. But that is, honestly, I can't think of anything else to do. I kind of don't want to put this playthrough to bed because we've been having so much fun with it, but, you know, at some point, it's just too much. It's just way too much to keep up with it. And we got to move on to bigger and better things. You know, I did this, I'm pretty sure, on all 4 sides. I ended up putting these in, and of course, I could never build it, so it just makes me look like an idiot right here. But, that's fine. What else is new? Everything is looking pretty snazzy, so I guess what we can do is just get the rest of these things around the outside built in another time lapse and think about what might go nicely up top. Again, you've been suggesting all sorts of different ideas, so I guess I technically don't need to ask you again, but if you have some sort of particular thing that you really want me to build, feel free to put it down there. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to do any of them, because I do not have a talent for 3D design or rendering or anything. So, we'll see what happens. But I do want to make something at least moderately interesting looking up top. Maybe put some more signs in and do other stuff before we completely say goodbye to this one and move on to what's next. We got plenty of stuff coming. Don't fret about that. So we'll get the rest of this exterior thing built, and I will see you on the other side of our time lapse. All right, and that looks like everything's connected. We should see. Yep, we sure do, and we are discharging batteries something fierce because it's in the middle of a drought. And yeah, we're not going to be able to probably power everything for the whole time. So we also have 27,000 science, so I am going to go ahead and just pause these again, just because we don't need them at this exact moment. That's going to save us a ton of power. Yeah, see, now the estimate for the battery discharge is substantially slower, and that should get us through the rest of this drought just fine. But yeah, there you have it. We have, I think, theoretically a peak generating capacity somewhere in the 40,000 range, maybe 50. We'll have to see whenever it gets back to the beginning of the next cycle, in cycle 47. But suffice to say, there really isn't that much else I can be doing here without just building something up top to call it a day. And I do think it's time to put this series to bed, which we will do next time. That will be the last episode. But again, as always, appreciate you guys being here and supporting the series, giving me some great ideas, and just being really helpful and pleasant to engage in the comments with. I do always read all of those. Can't respond to everything, but I do always make a point to read every comment and make notes of what you guys have to say, so on and so forth, and incorporate as much of that as I can. So I really, really, truly do appreciate all of that. It's made it very, very fun to do this whole series and enjoy all of that process. But we're in for a fun time next time, especially now that I have how many of these? Math? 20? 20 of these advanced breeding pods. And you can see our beaver numbers starting to slowly creep back up. A bunch of these are probably going to go off at about the same time. We're going to have a whole lot of beavers, folks. Going to have a whole lot. I wanted originally to get up to 500. I don't know how realistic that is. In the next episode, we might have to do a time lapse, see how many we can bring in here. But I think we can be pretty happy with what we've built up here. Could do a little bit more with the signs next time and see some other stuff. Somebody also said, hey, I'd like to see the trains go to different districts. If you really want to see that, we might be able to orchestrate that, figure it out. But yeah, I think we're about at the point where there's not much else we can or maybe should be doing. No, we didn't put our power sign here. Well, we got options to do stuff and see what else we can get to. There's still bots that aren't being filled. Spots that aren't being filled, so I guess we have that going for us. Try somehow to get the amount of limb production up. I don't know why suddenly, all of a sudden, it's a problem now. It was fine forever. But that's the way it goes. We have almost 600 bots, so maybe it's just an issue of economies of scale. I don't know. But all that to say, we are well and truly out of time. Well, this is going to be a short episode, but I've been on this for like 5 hours today. I literally do not have any more time to be doing this right now. So, unfortunately, that is going to be the end of this one. But I'll look forward to your thoughts about what you'd like to see in the finale and any other ideas you have for Timberborn stuff, because we do have to start a new series, and I might want to do some live streams again as well. We'll see what happens. I'll always solicit your ideas and feedback. I do very much value that. Beard boosters as well. Your contributions are absolutely invaluable to everything we got going on here. Really, really appreciate the support, and everybody else as well. So whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, hope you have a fun and a safe time, and we'll see you back in the next episode. Bye-bye.